Haribol, Namaste. My name is Janapati Das, and tonight we're going to do a special video because tonight is the appearance day of my great-great-great-grandfather, spiritual master, Bhaktivanode Thakur Swami Srila Prabhupada. And Bhaktivanode Thakur, our spiritual lineage, my Guru Dev, who I would like to offer my most humble obeisances unto, Jagat Guru Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Srila Prabhupada is my spiritual master. His initiating spiritual master is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's spiritual master was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who is the son of Bhaktivanode Thakur, whose appearance day is today. And Bhaktisiddhanta's initiating spiritual master is Gaurkishore Das Babaji, and Gaurkishore Das Babaji's Shiksha Guru, the guru who instructed him, was Bhaktivanode Thakur. So this is the sort of step back into our spiritual lineage of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, or the spirit lineage of spiritual masters. And we are going to praise Bhaktivanode Thakur today on his appearance today by reading some of his writings and poetry, which is so beautiful. Bhaktivanode Thakur was a magistrate. He was quite an amazing individual in the time, the 19th century. He was a magistrate or a judge, so that was his main job. He had 14 children who he instructed in spiritual life, and he also was a spiritual master, so he instructed those, and he did so many wonderful writings. And also there's many wonderful stories about Bhaktivanode Thakur, many of we could just never really end. But one of the very amazing places was he was the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Had been lost and was not really clear in his job. One of his jobs that his spiritual master Bob I have to get back on that. Jagannath, I think it's Jagannath Babaji, the spiritual master of Bhaktivanode Thakur, I think that was his name. He instructed him to help him to find the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya again, and so through many years of searching and old maps and asking around and reading, he finally found a place where there was many spiritual saintly people that had gone to as a pilgrimage place, and that they had stated was actually Lord Chaitanya's birthplace. And he actually brought his spiritual master, Jagannath Das Babaji, out to, who was very old, over 100 years old at this time. They were carrying him on a kind of a palanquin or like a stretcher kind of thing, because he was very old. And when he came to the spot, he was so joyous and ecstatic love. He got up and he started dancing, this old man. So then they knew that that was the spot of the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. So what we're going to do, of course, is chant, which is the prime benediction, is the highest form of spiritual practice, the chanting of Krishna's holy names. And as instructed by all spiritual masters, including Bhaktivanode Thakur, who we are praising today, we're going to chant. And we'll chant a little bit, and then we'll read some and talk about the poetry that is being written there. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhuta Srimate Sila Swarupananda Paramahamsa Itanamine Namo Vishnu Haribol. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Jaya Bhaktivanode Thakur. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Srimate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa iti namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada iti namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Swami iti namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Srimate Gaurkishore Das Babaji Swami iti namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami, Bhaktivanode Thakur Swami iti namine. Haribol. So I'm going to read. This is from Serengati, which is a very sweet poem, and it's long, and I would recommend, if you can get a authorized translation of this and meditate. It has to do with surrender, and the idea of surrendering to Krishna is everything that has to do with bhakti yoga has to do with surrender. And usually when we think about surrender, I was thinking about before I started practicing meditation and came to chanting, I would think about this idea of surrender to God. And I was like, I don't want to surrender. I don't want to surrender to anybody. I don't want to be anybody's slave, as if this were the idea that we're going to be God's slave. There's a difference between being God's slave and being God's servant. A slave is unwillingly forced into, and a servant is willingly surrendered to God. Sweet surrender. And that's what Lord Sri Krishna says to Arjuna, just surrender unto me. Abandon all varieties of religion, all these thoughts and ways of trying to figure things out, and just surrender unto me. And this is the process of bhakti yoga. It's the process of sadhana bhakti for most of us, the practice of learning how to surrender, because we don't really want to surrender. We don't want to give up our own lordship, even though it's like the thorns that the camels are eating. There's this analogy my spiritual master has brought up, that the camel, he loves to eat thorns because it's salty. It tastes salty, but it's actually the blood from the thorns cutting its mouth. So he's actually tasting his own blood that's drawing the strength from him. And the material world is very much like that. Our desire to lord and control is actually causing us great suffering and anxiety in this world, even though we think this is the way it is. So I'm going to start reading some of what I have. I don't have it in order, but I'm just going to read some of these just wonderful poems. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hear, O Lord, my story of sadness. I drank the deadly poison of worldliness, pretending it was nectar, and now the sun is setting on the horizon of my life. I spent my childhood in play, my youth in academic pursuit, and in me there arose no sense of right or wrong. In young manhood I set up a household and settled down to the spell of material enjoyment. Children and friends quickly multiplied. Soon old age arrived and all happiness departed. Subjected to disease, troubled and weak, all my senses are feeble now. My body racked and exhausted, and my spirits downcast in the absence of youthful pleasures. Devoid of even a particle of devotion, lacking any enlightenment. What help is there for me now? Only you, O Lord, friend of the fallen. I am certainly fallen, the lowest of men. Please therefore lift me to your lotus feet. Were you to judge me now, you would find no good qualities. Have mercy and judge me not. Cause me to drink the honey of your lotus feet, and thereby deliver this Bhaktivanode. So beautiful. And so much to be said there about the idea of folly. You know, there was this song I used to like as a teenager. It was called Birth, School, Work, Death. It was like, it really is the, you know, cycle of this kind of our life in this world, that we consistently chasing after the happiness. And Prahlad Maharaj, in the story of Lord Nrsingadev and Hiranyakashipu, of course, was teaching his little friends, his child 5-year-olds, about that. Just like this idea that, you know, when are you going to be serious about your spiritual life? Because for one thing, you may think, oh, I'm just a child right now. That's what they said. And we're just children. We'll get to it, you know. But he was saying this very same thing that Bhaktivanode was saying, that, you know, as a child you want to play and enjoy things in the playing sphere, and when you get to be, you know, you're a student, and then you meet girls or boys, and you want to date them, and you want to have fun as a teenager, and then, you know, date, and then you get married and you have children, and then it's a pursuit of taking care of your children and your wife, and then it's, you know, gathering goods for supporting your family. And so then it, you know, you're going through your life just trying to enjoy, and just like it says here, and it's a deadly poison of worldliness, you know, this kind of like eating the thorns without the you know. It's really important to state this, that we can live in the material world and have families and do all these things with the idea that everything belongs to Krishna. You know, this idea of what we do, we can do in the service of Krishna. But Bhaktivanode was saying that he didn't even take his spiritual life serious, which so many of us waste our precious human form of life in pursuit of this happiness, without thinking, what's going to happen next? What happens when I die? You know, I'll have to reap the karmic reactions of this, of what I've done. So now he's old and he's feeble, and all those pursuits of happiness he can't even enjoy because he's racked with pain and disease, and he feels the most lowest for just squandering his life. Although this is Bhaktivanode Thakur, but the great devotees are great because they feel the most low and the most unqualified. So he's asking to please ask the Lord to please help him to come to the service of Krishna, which is the goal of life. And this is understood by great saints in all the scriptures, that we cannot come to know Krishna or love Krishna with our own power and capabilities. We have to ask and depend upon the mercy of Krishna to lift us to his lotus feet. So we'll read on. At your feet, soft as new-grown leaves, I offer this humble prayer. Those feet shelter the fallen souls who burn from the heat of material existence. But I gave up their shelter, and now my mind, scorched by the fire of worldliness, has dried up like a desert. I find no strength to go on, and thus I spend my days lamenting. My only desire now is for your lotus feet, O Lord of the meek and humble. Has there ever been a soul as forlorn as me? Please be merciful and award me the association of your devotees. For the association is the key, right, of pure devotees. For by tasting the pleasure of hearing your pastimes, I shall give up all evils. One hope animates my soul, to spend day and night in your divine abode, singing your holy name. Your tiny servant Bhaktivanode begs a place in the delightfully cooling shade of your feet. Let's go on and read some more of this. A wicked mind brought me into this world, O Lord, but one of your pure and elevated devotees has come to bring me out. He saw me so fallen and wretched, took pity, and came to me, saying, O humbled soul, please listen to this good tiding, for it will gladden your heart. Sri Krishna Chaitanya has appeared in the land of Navadvip to deliver you. He He has safely conducted many miserable souls such as you across the sea of worldly existence. That's why it says in the prayer that Bhaktivanode also wrote, the lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can obtain pure devotional service. I bow to your lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By your grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. It's a prayer we say to our spiritual master every day. It's so beautiful, and you should reflect upon these things, because sometimes we just say it out of obligation and not really meditate upon its words. The power of surrendering yourself completely, humbly, at the feeling wretched at the lotus feet of your spiritual master and Lord Chaitanya. To fulfill the promise of the Vedas, the son of the Brahmana, being bearing the name Mahaprabhu of golden complexion, has descended with his brother, the Avaduta Nityananda. Together they have overwhelmed all of Nadia with divine ecstasy. Oh, there's more to the prayer. Sri Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, the son of Nanda, has saved the world by freely distributing his own holy name. Go also and receive your deliverance. O Lord, hearing those words, Bhaktivanode has come weeping to the soles of your lotus feet and tells the story of his life. I have earned neither piety nor knowledge. Overwhelmed by sensual pleasures, I have cheated myself and now see only darkness in all directions. That's why another prayer is, I'm not drawing a blank. So basically, that the spiritual master has brought a torchlight of knowledge to this darkness, this cave that I'm in, basically the material world, and brought the torchlight of knowledge, of spiritual knowledge, to show me the way out. I'm paraphrasing, of course. You, O Lord, are the fountainhead of all mercy. I surrender myself at your lotus feet. Kindly show me your compassion. It is your promise that one who takes refuge in you will know no dangers or fear. For a sinner like me, there is no other shelter. I beg you now for infinite grace. Oh, when will I know freedom from desire and thus become yours? You are eternally to be served. I am your eternal servant. And that is the sum of Bhaktivinode's devotional mood. How much more shall I tell you of my shameful story? There is no sin which I have not committed thousands and thousands of times. My life in this world has been one of affliction and torment as a result of those sins. Whom will I blame but myself? At the time, I did not consider the consequences. Now, in the aftermath, I seek to be saved. After judging my sins, you should punish me, for I deserve to suffer the pangs of rebirth in this world. I only pray that as I wander through repeated births and deaths, my mind may ever dwell at your lotus feet in the company of Vaishnavas. I offer you this judicious prayer. My heart's false pride is gone far away. Oh, you are so kind to the meek. Your pure mercy has become Bhaktivinode's only hope. And this is when we say that I desire only to be saved, but it's understanding that the kinds of sinful activity that we've engaged in life after life is insurmountable. It's like, so that we only pray to remember Krishna and Krishna's mercy, and don't be afraid to be, suffer the reactions if we have to. Mind, body, family, whatever may be mine, I have surrendered at your lotus feet, O youthful son of Nanda. So this is also the idea. We really don't own anything, actually. The things that we have, as said in the Sri Upanishad, everything animate and inanimate is owned and controlled by the Supreme Lord, and we are allotted a certain amount that we should know. We should know basically how much we've been allotted, and not try to over endeavor for more, but also with that understanding that what we have can be taken away at any time. It doesn't really belong to us. So we have the opportunity through the grace and mercy of Sri Krishna and Sri Lord Chaitanya to be offering what is owned by him already in service and love to him. So mind, body, family, possessions, money, whatever we might have, we offer we give to as an offering to Krishna. In good fortune or in bad, in life or in death, all my difficulties have disappeared by choosing those feet of yours as my only shelter. That's key. All these difficulties that we face in the material world are manageable when we surrender our life to the lotus feet of Krishna. It doesn't mean things are going to become all perfect and easy, but we can navigate because we have taken complete shelter of Krishna. Slay me or protect me as you wish, for you are the master of your eternal servant. For it is your will that I will be born again. For if it is your will that I be born again, then may it be in the home of your devotee. May I be born again even as a worm, as long as I remain your devotee. I have no desire to be born as a Brahma averse to you. So, again, Lord Brahma has a passionate creating propensity, desire to create. Even an elevated devotee who takes on the position of Brahma still has a little bit of envy for Krishna. So he's saying, I don't even want to be the creator of the universe, who's such a great devotee. I yearn for the company of that devotee who is completely devoid of all desire for worldly enjoyment or liberation. Father, mother, lover, son, lord, preceptor, and husband, you are everything to me. Bhaktivanode says, O Kana, please hear me. O Lord of Radha, you are my life and soul. Whatever I am, whatever I possess, I offer at your lotus feet, O merciful Lord. I no longer belong to myself. Now I am exclusively yours. The soul inhabiting this mortal body has given up the false ego attached to the word I, and now the eternal, spiritual sense of being yours has entered his heart. All my possessions, body, brothers, friends and followers, wife, sons, personal belongings, house and home, all of these I give to you, for I have become your servant. Now I dwell in your house. You are the Lord of my house, and I am your most obedient servant. Your happiness is my only endeavor now. Whatever piety or sins were done by me, by mind or deed, are no longer mine, for I am redeemed. My desire has become one with yours. From this day, Bhaktivanode has no other identity. And we'll stop there because this is a long, once again, Saranagati, surrender. Very, very wonderful, beautiful prayer, and worth meditating about our own spiritual journey in life. So I hope you've enjoyed this little class of some poetry. Bhaktivanode Thakur, let us take the moment to praise the glories of Bhaktivanode Thakur, by whose mercy and grace we are able to know something about Krishna. Without Bhaktivanode Thakur, there would not have been Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, or Gaurkishordas Babaji, or Bhaktivedanta finding his spiritual master and being instructed by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to go to the West and preach Krishna consciousness to the West. And without Bhaktivedanta Swami, my dear Gurudev, Jagadguru Siddha Swarupananda Paramhamsa Srila Prabhupada would have known about Krishna and would have been a Mayavadi teacher, and so I'm eternally grateful to Bhaktivanode Thakur, and I pray for his mercy as my great-great-great-grandfather, that I may have even the inkling of desire to serve my spiritual master and to serve Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Haribol. Let's chant.
Okay.
Haribol, thank you for joining me for this special class, and praise and all glories to Bhaktivanode Thakur, Swami Prabhupada. Haribol.